Wood ain't cheap anymore. That's what makes this folding chair so great. You can build it from a single sheet of plywood, and the space-saving design folds completely flat for easy storage. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build one yourself using just a couple of basic power tools. The hardest part is drilling the holes for the hinges, but I'll show you how I got that done with a little American ingenuity. There's not much room to spare in this funky little shack. And for my next project, I'm building a small camper cabin to take on the road. With my enthusiasm for small spaces comes an obsession with folding furniture, like this Kentucky stick chair, or this transforming workbench. Check out those videos linked down below, and be sure to subscribe to see how my camper project takes shape. One of the folding chairs I considered for this cabin was a French design called the Desile chair, named after its designer, Christian Desile. I made some changes to give it a more American flavor, but in the end I decided it didn't really fit in with the rustic look I have going in here. But it's a cool chair, even though it is, French. Not that there's anything wrong with that. The French helped us win our war for independence. They gave us a sweet deal on the Louisiana Purchase. They gave us the Statue of Liberty. And don't forget those French fried potatoes. So good. In return, America stepped up when France found itself in a tight spot. So in that spirit of Franco-American cooperation, I'm going to show you how to build my version of the Desile chair by hand, without one of those CNC cutters. After gathering up your tools and materials, all you have to do is trace the pattern, cut and shape 3 parts, then connect them together. C'est facile. That's French for easy peasy. First, let's talk wood and choosing your materials. You'll need some 1/2-inch thick plywood from your local home store. If the actual thickness says 15-30 seconds, that's close enough. Since we're building just one chair today, I'm starting with a 4-foot by 4-foot handy panel. It's a manageable size and I can cut it in half myself. Whichever way you choose to buy the plywood and get it cut down is up to you, as long as you end up with 2 measuring 24 inches wide by 48 inches long. Side note, on the first one I built, I tried using edge-glued pine shelf boards, but it split and I had to repair it. So you should definitely go with plywood to ensure it will accommodate a portly gentleman such as myself. It might not be as pretty, but plywood is a lot stronger. Now, let's review the tools and supplies you'll need. As far as power tools go, you'll need a basic handheld power drill, a 3/8 inch drill bit, a 1 1/4 inch hole saw, a jigsaw, and some jigsaw blades. These are the only 2 power tools you'll absolutely need for this project. The hand tools and other supplies you'll need include several clamps of any kind. I used these quick grip handy clamps, a length of 3/8 inch dowel rod, a bottle of wood glue, a can of easy tack or some transfer paper and painter's tape. I'll explain about those in a minute. A multi-grit pack of sandpaper, a ruler or yardstick because you always need to measure something, a coping saw or Japanese-style pull saw, a pack of wood shims, a file, a basic hammer, pliers. A few of these are basic things. I threw them in because you'll use them at some point in the project. I bet you've got a lot of them around. If not, then now's the time to go buy a household starter toolkit. I also used a self-centering dowel jig like this one, but it's not something everyone owns. Stay tuned and I'll show you an improvised drill guide that works just as well. A rasp comes in handy too. Okay, let's get started. Step 1. Glue together the 2 1/2-inch panels to make a single 1-inch thick 24 by 48 inch board. Drizzling the wood glue all over one panel, I used a cheap paintbrush to quickly spread it out evenly edge to edge. Place the second panel on top of the first and clamp them together flat. I used these quick-set squeeze clamps, but you could also use C-clamps or one-handed trigger-style bar clamps. It doesn't really matter. Set clamps around the edge to press out any gaps between the panels. For good measure, I added this bucket containing a couple of heavy chain hoists to weight down the center. Let the glue dry for at least a few hours, if not overnight. Remove the clamps and you now have a single 1-inch thick board. Here you have another choice to make as to how you want to go about printing the pattern. The hard way is to pause the video now, save a screenshot of the cutting pattern, blow it up to 24 by 36 inches on your computer, tile it onto 8.5 by 11 printer paper, and tape it all together. Or the easy way is to throw a couple of bucks at me and download it from my website. Getting it printed out full size is easy. After you download the PDF, send it over to your local print shop like FedEx Office, Office Depot, Alpha Graphics, or Fast Signs. They can print it out full size. No muss, no fuss. Once you've got the pattern, you'll need to transfer it onto the sandwiched plywood board. If you're building just one chair, you can sacrifice the pattern and stick it right to the surface of the board with some easy tack. It's kind of like spray-on post-it note sticky glue. Or if you're making more than one chair, you can use graphite transfer paper to trace the same pattern over and over onto multiple panels. Now comes the fun, cutting and shaping the plywood parts. Start with the hole saw and drill all the 1 1/4 inch holes indicated with crosshairs on the pattern. Don't throw away those cores, you'll need them later. Then, use one of those holes as the starting point for the jigsaw, cutting the plywood into 3 pieces according to the pattern. This video is sped up for time. You're not going to zip through a plywood board this thick very fast with the jigsaw. Keep it slow and steady so you don't burn out or break the blade. Next, round off or soften all the hard edges. Sandpaper and some good old elbow grease will do the job if you don't have a router. Since I do have a router on hand, I used a 1/4 inch roundover bit on all the edges. Pay special attention to these 2 hooky nub things on the outer frame. Using some coarse sandpaper, shape them down nice and round. They should fit easily into the 1 1/4 inch holes drilled into the seat. This is important. Now it's time to connect the 3 parts. Drilling the 4 holes through the edge of the frame is the hardest part of this whole project. It's important to drill them as straight as you can. The 2 up top in the outer frame aren't so hard. It's the 2 holes on the inner frame, down in this dip. Those are the tricky ones. I just eyeballed it on this first one I built, and that worked out okay. This time I wasn't so lucky. The holes drifted way off center. If this happens to you, don't panic. The project is not ruined. Look at it as an opportunity to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. After I finished cursing, this is how I fixed it. I filled the holes with wooden toothpicks and some wood glue. After that dried, I took some sawdust, which I keep on hand for times like this, and mixed it with some wood glue into a paste to fill the ends of the holes. After that dries, sand it down, and you've got yourself a do-over. Almost like it never happened. For Plan B, I improvised a drill guide from one of the discarded hole saw cores and a popsicle stick. Much better. Now you can dry fit the whole thing and test the folding action. Still too European. Not badass enough. So there you have it, a folding chair that's now precisely 76% more American than French, made by hand in the USA. I like to think it would bring a tear to Ron Swanson's eye, and a nod of approval.